Magic Conj, will I ever get to meet Tom Kenny?
Maybe someday.
Oh, so you're saying there's a chance. Okay. Should I tell fans of the show how they can support us?
Yes.
Goofy Goobers, supporting the show is shockingly easier than catching a blue jellyfish. Right from our anchor page, anchor.fm/SpongePod, you can find links to all of our social media and a support button if you happen to have a few extra clams. Also follow us on mixer.com/SpongePodSquareCast, where it's not only the official home to our sister show, Video Bob Game Pants, it's also where I stream live drawings of various Nickelodeon characters and host the opportunity for commissions and giveaways. Lastly, the official merchandise store is now open at redbubble.com/people/SpongePod, where various designs will be uploaded inspired by our show, including our official logo, which is now available on a multitude of products like t-shirts, stickers, duvet covers, and even a shower curtain. This is a podcast by a fan for fans and will always be fan-driven. Any way you see fit on supporting our show is much appreciated. Thank you and enjoy. Ahoy, mateys, and welcome to another episode of I'm Ready, a SpongePod Squarecast. My name is Captain Eric, and we are continuing our adventure through the first season of SpongeBob SquarePants. To get a little real here, and this is kind of tough, during this troubling time of 2020, and I'm trying to keep this as family-friendly as possible, but also honest, if that makes sense, because sometimes... you know, there's a gray area there that you got to stay in line. I was going to make a little announcement right before. I uploaded, of course, the upload strength of this show hasn't been the best. And I know that. And it's something that I have to think about every time. Look, there's not a day that goes by I don't think about this show or the things I'd like to do. And that's always the kicker in the back of my head. Like you have to be consistent weekly, or at least bi-weekly would get more out. Because we're over a year since I first put out the first introduction. And I'm very proud of that first year. It was slow but strong, and I think that's what matters. But I uploaded a episode 8, Boating School, which. The first thing I gotta remind people is that I record these episodes not intentionally out of order, but when I have guests on, I'd either like to let them pick an episode that they like to talk about, or if it's someone who might not be very strong with SpongeBob, I'm going to pick an episode that I think they would enjoy. So that's why certain things I might announce is out of order, complete in, or the way I'm talking. So you might hear an episode that gets really better in terms of quality, and then you hear an episode that just kind of goes back a few spaces. That's probably what's going on. And as time goes on, I plan on with each season of SpongeBob is a new season of this podcast. So it's constantly evolving, and that's why I always ask you guys if you have suggestions or anything you'd like more of or less of, or how you would like to see the show evolve. Trust me, your opinion matters 110%. Even if you send me a comment on Instagram, I get a bunch of DMs on there. If I don't ever take those, it's not that it's a bad idea. It's trying to at least make a cohesive show moving forward and showing growth. But anyway, during this troubling time, I uploaded episode 8, Boating School, and I thought about, as I was sitting there, making kind of a PSA for a few of these episodes, about what's going on, and I don't know. It's a tough time right now, and you would think I am an essential employee, so as much as I would love to be home, as a lot of you might be doing, and cranking out episodes of this podcast daily and doing a lot, I have to go out there and work, and taking a step back and seeing, not even just going to smaller, looking at how my town is taking it, the state, the country, and the world. it's yes, it's scary, but what I want the point I want to get across of this whole thing I'm talking about is that we always need two things in this world, no matter how dire it gets. And these are two things that I live my life by because, trust me, if I ever wanted to make a non-family friendly show about my personal life and the things that have gone on, it would things when I open up to friends and family, they just, how do you get up in the morning sometimes? And I always tell them it's these two things, and it's these two things that attracted me to SpongeBob more than any other cartoon character. I'll be the first to tell people the greatest Nicktoon of all time, in my opinion, is Hey Arnold, for a lot of reasons that I hope to one day be able to have a TED Talk about, because I feel that strongly about it. But my favorite cartoon character is SpongeBob because he represents these two things. You ready? Positivity and optimism. And I think now, more than ever, we need positivity and optimism. And that is why I think for a lot of fans listening out there, SpongeBob is an escape. It's a show that we enjoy. We can come together. Hopefully a lot of you listening are part of the Goofy Goobers Facebook group. So I wanted to put this out there, and not, I wanted to make this message as a part of real time. This is what I'm currently feeling and dealing with. So it's not as if, I don't want to place this message out in front of every episode, but I always want things to be real. I don't want to retroactively add things to episodes I've already recorded. So, this is what we're dealing with. And just like I say every week, we're it's a metaphor. We're continuing sailing. We're moving forward. This is what we're going to continue to do. And I appreciate all of you. If you're listening up to this point, even if you, even if you don't support this show in any of the ways I may have listed in the opening ad there, thank you for being a part of this, and hopefully you stick around and we can keep going. But let's get on for today's episode. Today we are tackling Pickles, a very legendary SpongeBob episode from season 1, the second part of the 6th episode, first aired August 21st, 1999. I was still 8 years old at this time. Crazy. Of course, we get the debut of Bubble Bass, who is a glutton of a fish in the undersea, which is something interesting. There's, you don't see a lot of big fish undersea as far as weight goes. Somebody who's just overeating. But Bubble Bass is just that. He is a character clearly overeats. And just a little message here. This is one of the coolest things ever. Actual fans of both SpongeBob and the culinary world were able to decipher exactly what Bubble Bass orders. Now, normally something like this kind of trivia, I would say during the episode when we put it on, but this is just so massive that this is what's gonna. I want to talk about this now and not take up time. So Bubble Bass's order, in quotes: I'll take a double, triple Bossy Deluxe on a raft, 4x4 animal style, extra shingles with a shimmy and a squeeze, light axle grease, make it cry, burn it, and let it swim. Now, for those that don't know, maybe there's some kids out there, there are certain secret menu items at almost every fast food restaurant out in the world. And it's not a secret where the people behind the counter relatively know about this. I know that there are some out there. I believe In-N-Out Burger has secret menu items that everyone working there is pretty much in tune to. But there are certain other ones that you just have to, it's the way you order it is how you get the secret item. So this has been decoded by a few fans out there. Double triple bossy means 6 all beef patties. Applying the 4x4, because he says 4x4 animal style, that would be 24 patties. So 6 patties, 4x4, that's 24 patties. So grind up the beef mince and then scoop up 24 balls of meat, grill them all. So you have 24 patties. Light axle grease means butter. So light on the butter, not too much. And then deluxe would mean iceberg lettuce, tomatoes, cheese, white onions, ketchup, and mustard. Thinly cut. On a raft means Texas toast. So you're going to need, so to make Bubble Bass's order, you're going to need 48 slices of Texas toast. That's at least 3 loaves of bread. Extra shingles means more toast. So it's 2 pieces of toast where you would have one. Shimmy and a squeeze is I guess butter on the toast or mayonnaise or special sauce, depending on where you go. Animal style would mean double burger. So each burger in between the 2 slices of bread is 2 burgers there. Yeah, so that was animal style. And then shimmy and a squeeze is you add those in between the burgers, add grilled onions. Make it cry should be pretty obvious. That means extra onions. And then, of course, don't forget pickles. Let's see. Let it swim isn't apparently not a culinary thing, but it might be out there. It might be somewhere specific. But anyway, so his order is 24 patties with butter and double the amount of Texas toast and extra sauce. It's extra onions. That's just a crazy order. And of course, anybody who would like to see this thing actually made should go and watch a little plug here. Binging with Babish, the online cooking show on YouTube, has tackled SpongeBob a few times, and of course did an episode about Bubble Bass's order. So definitely check that out. So yeah, we have the introduction of Bubble Bass, who is not really. So in this episode, he comes off as more of an antagonist, or at least an annoyance, if you don't want to call him an antagonist. But definitely, as time goes on, he becomes just more of kind of the glutton of Bikini Bottom. He's not really used as often as I think he should be. There's certain characters like I can't say. I guess Larry. Larry is used a decent amount when he's needed, but I would like to see more of Larry as time went on. But Bubble Bass was a character I thought should have been used more. He's like the comic book guy of Bikini Bottom. If anyone out there is familiar with The Simpsons, another yellow group of cartoon characters. So yeah, in this episode, we have to deal with SpongeBob being accused of messing up an order. So right now, if everybody wants to join me, of course, as at least for the first few seasons, I'll be watching this through Amazon Prime. But of course, this episode is available on the complete first season. If you have the first 100 episodes, the movies and TV collection apparently has this episode on there. From the beginning, part 1, SpongeBob SquarePants Volume 1, and then a bunch of iTunes specific little bundles there. Or if you have the Hall Monitor DVD, go grab that. Let's watch this together. All right, so I have the beginning of the Pickles title card, and we'll start that now. I love the music here, the kind of Western style gunner music. SpongeBob versus Bubble Bass. And of course, the stare off between Bubble Bass and SpongeBob is a reference to the film The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, for any fans out there. I guess the 4x4 animal style part is also a part of it is a secret menu item from In-N-Out Burger. I think In-N-Out has a lot of secret menu items. I keep hearing about this. crying Johnny. I really disagree with SpongeBob's method of building a burger here. I I have a problem with the cheese not being on the patty itself to have that chance to melt a little bit, but also if I was going to the Krusty Krab, I would not tell the cook what to do. I wouldn't tell him how to run his frying section. Why am I forget he's the fry cook and he has a skillet. Oh, you have extra salt. So anyway, this is the first episode of the show that is the title of the episode is Food. And it is also revealed here. Oh, here we go. Here's his order. Definitely such a good line there. I don't know if anybody has worked in a food service. One of my first big job past being a paper boy was working at a Dunkin' Donuts, and some of the things people would order were pretty. They were on this line of like crazy to ingenious. And I gotta say, I'll tell you the most ingenious thing I ever heard somebody order is a sausage, egg, and cheese on a old-fashioned donut, because it kind of tastes like a McGriddle. The craziest thing I've ever heard is a sausage, egg, and cheese on a Boston cream, which somebody actually cut through the slicer, and the mess was insane. I don't know why Bubble Bass has such an issue with SpongeBob. It's not revealed in this episode, but I don't know what he gets out of trying to ruin SpongeBob's fry cook career. I mean, SpongeBob is making him good food, presumably. And so what would Bubble Bass gain from upsetting him? And apparently the Krusty Krab has this this refund. Let's see right there. Super tiny money back guarantee. Yeah, I don't understand. Free. I don't know what kind of water you're serving underwater, but who am I to say what they can and can't do? In this episode, SpongeBob reveals the ingredients of the Krabby Patty, although he does not mention the secret ingredient. But I honestly, between you and I think that ingredient is just in the meat itself. And according to Binging with Babish, who we're bringing up a second time here, he thinks the secret ingredient is MSG, which, for anyone that doesn't know, is a additive to food that usually is pretty addictive. Monosodium glutamate is a flavor enhancer commonly added to Chinese food, canned vegetables, soups, and processed meats. The Food and Drug Administration has classified MSG as a food ingredient that's generally recognized as safe, but it remains controversial because of its addictive nature. It's hard to explain. I mean, because it's got sodium in there, it's like a salt, but I definitely wouldn't. I don't know. Would I put seasoning like that just on the top of something? I don't know. It generally makes stuff more addictive. That's why you'll see, for anyone out there, go and grab a Chinese food pamphlet from your house. It says probably MSG crossed out somewhere on there. Let's see. When SpongeBob regains his knowledge of making Krabby Patties, the order of the ingredients is switched around. For example, at the beginning of this episode, he had ketchup and mustard immediately following the patty, but when he unknowingly makes a Krabby Patty incorrectly in front of Mr. Krabs, the ketchup and mustard are moved towards the top. Let's see. Yeah, and this completely messes him up. Who knew that like having the perfect Krabby Patty would be the key to SpongeBob's happy life here. For him to be able to I don't know, has anyone slept in their bed like that? The floor can't be that cold. He was pretty close with his head off to the side. Let's see. When Mr. Krabs says, "We got Squidward," the cash register sound is heard along with Squidward's hand near the register, but there is no customer. And if anybody... All right, so... No, this is crazy. This is one of the episodes that bothered me on the idea of the Krusty Krab without SpongeBob. I don't know how long Squidward... He burnt my shake. SpongeBob, from episode 1, applies to the Krusty Krab and gets the job. But how long before that? I mean, when he walked in, it was just Mr. Krabs and Squidward. So how long... Now, I know that there was other fry cooks in the past, but how long were they running with just them two before SpongeBob showed up? I don't think in that episode with the other fry cook. Who you, how do? I don't think they said that. Like, did he quit like a day before SpongeBob came in? Maybe. I probably seem silly, but like I've said, a lot of the newer stuff I haven't rewatched as much as these older ones. So I'm not as versed, but kind of half the reason why I started the show is to start watching all the newer episodes. Apparently, according to SpongeBob trying to get in bed, it's mattress, SpongeBob, mattress, sheet, and pillow. He was close. The real order, the honest real order, should have been mattress, pillow, SpongeBob, sheet. In the Latin American version of this episode, SpongeBob mentions crab while preparing the Krabby Patty, a common mistake for those trying to create their own home recipe. Of course, the meat used, I don't think, is crab. Although, I guess saying it's beef is maybe a little wrong, too. I mean, but it depends where Mr. Krabs is getting his shipment of beef. Who knows? This episode marks another appearance of the drive-through window. When Bubble Bass walks up to order, it can be seen with a crate in the background. Yeah, the drive-through window is something that seems to just be there and disappear whenever it wants to. I mean, if they have an episode, or even in the movie, the Sponge Out of Water, the drive-through is a part of the Krusty Krab, but it is certainly not a regular part of SpongeBob. Here we go. That's a better sounding presentation for a Krabby Patty. This part also bothered me too. Why doesn't Mr. Krabs just double check to make sure SpongeBob put the pickles on? I guess you could bring up, hey, it's the fish outside the window. It's become a meme as well. Like when you're not supposed to be open and a customer sees you at the window or something like that. Yes, you could probably argue that Mr. Krabs is that he has a lot of trust in SpongeBob, but that's also trusting SpongeBob with his money. And Mr. Krabs doesn't trust anyone with his money. So he should just be in there to double check he's putting the pickles on so that he could catch Bubble Bass as a liar. And of course, here's the stare down. All the people coming in. The regular. Just so you know, this episode premiered on Steven Hillenburg's 38th birthday. Well, I imagine, I do remember that Mr. Krabs said he was a fry cook. He was a chef. So why was Squidward why did he put Squidward on the grill? Oh, that's disgusting. No, he... I wonder how he caught it, though. Wonder how he saw it. Did he just sneak a pickle and he pulls out his tongue? Yeah. Yep, he's been caught. Let's see. In the episode on the Galley Grub, Krabby Patty is incorrectly spelled as Krabby Patty, Pattie. That is wrong. When SpongeBob confronts Bubble Bass at the end of the episode, the Krusty Krab has no tables. Yeah. SpongeBob says he cannot make a double Krabby Patty with the works, but there's only one patty used. Yeah, this is fun. Like I said, for anybody who has worked food service should know that you have those customers once in a while. Oh man, I could dedicate an entire show talking about some of the regular customers that would come in to Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts, though, not as fast food-esque as you would think. And when I tell young people about getting a job, I usually say, like, if you're worried about fast food, go to Dunkin' Donuts. At least you're pouring coffee in a cup, or you're grabbing a pre-made donut, and at worst, you're putting breakfast sandwiches together. And if you're working in the morning, a lot of that stuff is pre-made. You have these little heaters that you can hold like 6 trays of bacon in, or the little single trays, so that's 6 sandwiches ready to go, and you're constantly making have one person. It's a whole ordeal. I'm not I don't say I was a fry cook at all with that kind of stuff, but yeah, so that was Pickles. Certainly, other than introducing Bubble Bass, I think this episode is important because it shows SpongeBob's dedication to his work. But I think the negative part is I don't think it deals with making errors. Now, certainly SpongeBob didn't make an error in the beginning. Bubble Bass lied. But the idea of making an error for SpongeBob was like detrimental. You watched, his entire life was ruined. He was not able to even go to bed properly because his entire life was just flipped upside down. So I think that's a little bit of the problem in this episode, is seeing SpongeBob's reaction to a mistake, even though he didn't make the mistake, if that makes sense. Like, if he did forget the pickles, his whole life is just tore upside down. So that's really my only criticism with this. But other than that, I mean, the episode is one of the better ones of the entire series. Of course, I mean, anything from season 1 is kind of up there, but it's still the first season. You're still learning about this character, and I don't think he hits his peak until later on, as far as like a character goes, of complete in and out understanding of who he is and what he's about. And they're still understanding and building, and that's completely fine. Of course, don't want to not mention, but the writers of these episodes, Steve Fonte, Chris Mitchell, and Peter Burns. Storyboard artists were Chris Mitchell and Jay Lender. And storyboard, Steve Fonte. Animation was done by Tom Yasumi. And the creative director, Derek Dryman. The man right there, Derek Dryman. He would be definitely a get for the show to talk about SpongeBob. That would be wonderful. So yeah, that was Pickles. This is I'm Ready, a SpongePod Squarecast. If you've been listening this far, please listen to my ad in the beginning. Any support any of fans out there can give us, a like, a follow, subscribe. Literally most of those you don't even have to spend money, and at most you're spending like 5-10 minutes of your time just to do something. And I am only putting the 10 minutes in there. I think Mixer is really important, that I can get followers on there. So signing up for a Mixer account might take a little bit, but for most of that stuff, I think most of you have Instagram. Follow us on Instagram at SpongeBob Podcast. Super simple. I love the fan actions on there, and I'm more regular on Instagram than any other social media. Facebook is pretty much just a secondary place for me to upload the YouTube videos I make for this, which are just the audio. And we're almost coming up to our first episode of Video Bob Game Pants. I think after this, there's only, let's see, I have to click off of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 episodes. 8 episodes from the time you're listening to this until that episode. So I'll probably talk about it every episode up until then. The way that this is going to work, and this is why it's important to follow us on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot, I am going to promote a live stream of Nicktoons Racing for, I believe I'm starting with the Game Boy Color version, and then I believe PS1 is next, and then Game Boy Advance. So I'm gonna live stream all 3 games. Gonna try to beat all 3 of them with SpongeBob. And then what'll happen is the videos of the live streams will be uploaded to YouTube and Facebook, and then an episode of this show will actually just be a review. I'm going to write reviews of each game and tell you what I think about them, and that'll just continue on in order. Anytime there's a video game coming out, there'll be a live stream, and then following a review that'll be an actual episode of the podcast. So, you got some good ones coming up. Right after Nicktoons Racing, you have Legend of the Lost Spatula, Super Sponge, and then, of course, we get into some big ones: Nickelodeon Party Blast, Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, Battle for Bikini Bottom, Nicktoons Freeze Frame Frenzy. We got a lot of games coming out, but they're in between these episodes. Even before we get to the big ones, we'll have 100 episodes of the show or somewhat, because there's a lot of the TV show we got to get through too as well. So, yeah, that's it. Everybody listening to this, please stay safe. Practice social distancing. Wash your hands. Do whatever you can to be safe. If there's family or friends around you not being safe and they're just not listening, do it for yourself. You may be okay if you come down on something, but you don't want to be the bridge of that to getting to a person who might not be okay. So, but yeah, washing your hands should be happening regardless of if there's anything going on in the world or not. So, just be careful, be safe. Any of the fans, can't wait to speak with you on Instagram. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time.